person may not directly come up to you and ask for help, but that does not mean that they don't want it. Suicidal people don't necessarily want to die. They just want the feelings of hurt, shame, or guilt that they are feeling to stop. Suicide prevention starts with knowing the signs and symptoms that somebody is suicidal, and I made a video about a month ago if you'd like to learn about that, so go check that video out. If you think a close friend or family member is suicidal, do not be afraid to bring it up. There's this huge misconception that if we talk about suicide to a suicidal person, that might put the idea in their heads, and this is absolutely not true. If you'd like to learn about the other misconceptions about suicide, here's a video on that I made 2 weeks ago. We need to know this information before we go further and learn how to help these people. So you watched the video on signs and symptoms that somebody is suicidal, and now you're here because you want to help them. You may be worried about bringing up the whole conversation about suicide. What if they get angry with me? What if I'm wrong? What if they don't want my help? These are completely normal things to think about because suicide is such a touchy subject. It's something really scary to talk about. My first advice is to educate yourself on the misconceptions and the signs and symptoms of suicide before bringing up the conversation to your loved one or friend. How do we start this conversation? Just start it. Don't bring it up when you're around a lot of people, and don't bring it up in an unsafe situation. Make time for this conversation and make sure you are in a quiet, safe environment to have this conversation. Make sure the person you're talking to feels safe, because this could be a really uncomfortable conversation to have. Make sure it's a comfortable environment for them. I've been very concerned about you lately. Recently, I've noticed some differences in your behavior. Is there anything going on? You haven't been seeing yourself lately. Is there anything you want to talk about? I've been seeing signs lately that have been getting me kind of concerned, and I just wanted to ask if you are suicidal. When did you start feeling this way? Have you thought about how you're going to do it? Do you have the means to do it? Did something happen to make you feel this way? How can I support you right now? Have you thought about getting help? When this conversation is going, I want you to be very supportive. Don't have any judgment. Some of the things that they are going to say are going to be hard to hear, but if you are that person, that safe person that makes them feel supported, that is so good to them. Be calm, be patient, and be accepting of this individual, because they are going through a lot right now, and they might not feel like they have anyone to talk to. You might be the first person to even bring it up. Listen and don't interrupt them. Even if they say something that might startle you or sound really bad to you, let them talk it out. Don't give your opinion to their experiences. We all know that suicide is not the answer. So you don't need to bring it up in this conversation by putting them down, saying, you know you're wrong, you know that this is a bad thing. We all know that, so there's no reason to bring this up and make them feel guiltier about talking about their feelings. Let the person know that you are there for them and that they are not alone in their experiences. Let them know that their life is so important to you. That's something so good to hear, that they have worth, because they do have worth. Every person on this planet has worth, is important, and has a path to go down. Let them know that. That's something so good to hear. Don't offer solutions to fix their problems, because you don't have that authority. You are not a professional, you are not a doctor, but you can help them get help. Don't blame yourself. One of the worst things, if you are suicidal and you are telling someone that, you know, I'm suicidal, and the other person's like, oh, it's my fault, and you all make it about you. It's not about you right now, it's about that other person. Even if you feel like it's your fault, do not express it to this person, because that might make them feel more guilty, more depressed, and more suicidal. So keep it to yourself. This is not your fault. You cannot control their emotions. You cannot control another person and how they feel. It is not your fault. The next thing I want you to do is assess how at risk this person is, because as you assess them, you are going to know what steps to take next. Someone really low in the suicide risk thinks about suicide, but does not have a plan and does not plan on committing suicide. Someone who is moderate on the suicide risk scale, has thoughts of suicide, has has a vague plan but doesn't really want to go on with it. They say they don't want to kill themselves. Someone who is high in the suicide risk, has suicidal thoughts, has a specific plan on how they are going to commit suicide, but still says they don't want to commit suicide. Someone who is at severe risk for suicide, has thoughts of suicide, has a very specific plan, and says they are going to kill themselves. If someone says this and says they're going to kill themselves and is in immediate danger, please contact your local crisis center, call 911, or bring them to the emergency room. Remove all means of suicide, guns, knives, objects, pills, anything that they specify that they are going to kill themselves with. Take all of that out of the vicinity, as well as never, ever, ever leave them alone. If someone says that they're going to commit suicide and they tell you this, do not leave them alone. If you have to leave, call somebody else. Now that we have identified what the signs and symptoms of a suicidal person are, we have educated ourselves on the misconceptions of suicide. How do we help these people? We do everything in our power to help them get professional help, either by helping them make a doctor's appointment, a therapy appointment, or a psychiatrist appointment. If you don't have that power, then just encourage the person to seek professional help. You can also call your local crisis center and ask them for referrals. They might have places like support groups in your area, crisis centers in your area, or just places that they can go to get help. Tell the person to call if they need anything. Let them know that you are there for them. Invite the person out to do things, to have fun, to go to the beach, to go see a movie, to go out to dinner. Make sure they don't isolate themselves, because isolation makes depression worse. Encourage them to do positive self-care techniques like getting enough sleep, eating the right foods, and exercising. These things can make a complete difference in someone's depression. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I really hope it helps someone out there. If you are suicidal and you're watching this video, please call this number on the screen. It is a completely confidential hotline to help you, to get you resources, just to help you if you're in a crisis. There's also hotlines down below of different suicide hotlines in different countries. If you are not in the United States, I'll leave a link below about how to find your local crisis hotline. I love you guys. Please stay safe, and I'll see you guys in another video.